Hello everyone and welcome back to the SIPS tutorials. This time with Ciel Austral's NGC 6559 taken with our C5 camera. I'm going to move myself a little bit, but still do yourself a favor and go to the Ciel Austral's website and check this amazing image in the full resolution. Link as usual is down below. In the previous video we looked at images in SIPS, how to manipulate them and how to transform them. So make sure to check it out if you missed it. In this video we'll continue our SIPS discussion with the image lists. Again, all this is also available in our documentation that is always up to date and freely available at our website. With that out of the way, let's go straight into SIPS. We can create new lists with a button right here, new list, or we can use the Ctrl+L shortcut and create as many as we want. By default, they are labeled with the numbers in the order they were created, but we can also change the name right here. So this, for example, can be list A, and this can be list alpha. Now, when we don't have the images in tab selected, the list behave very much like images from the last video. We can move them, we can minimize them, bring them back, and these buttons that tile them or bring them all together like this, they work pretty much the same. When we have some images open, they all work together like this. We have the one image here and the lists arranged like that. In a very similar manner to the images, we can also find lists. So we have 1, 2, alpha, and A right here. When we don't need lists, we can either close them manually or use this button, close all the lists. The main purpose of lists in SIPS is to group the images together, which is very useful for batch operations, but also for organizing workspace. Right now, there are no images in this list. To add images to the list, we can either click this button to add images from file. So for example, this one, I can select more, of course. Or when we have images in our workspace, I can use this other button, which adds opened images. So these two are open, I can select them both and add them to my list. Now we can see that some of the items has this image icon. That means that the image is open in the workspace. So if I select this list, it brings this list up. When I close this list, this icon disappears and I can easily open it again. We have briefly touched upon it in the last video, but as long as the image is either open in the workspace or part of any list, it stays in the memory. So I can use this to very nicely organize my workspace. Right now there are no images open, but I can always take the list and open image, exactly the one I need. Similar to images, I can take the file browser and drag and drop images directly into the list. Now, there is one really nice feature of SIPS. Let me show you. Previously, when we had just one type of images present, when I open them like this and try adding them into image, I can select between all, none, and then when I select whichever I want to add, I click OK. Now, let me clear the list real quick by clicking this button. I can either remove selected image or remove all the images. Close all the images here, and let me now select the images of multiple types. I have some blue filter and green filter, and if I load them all into SIPS and now click open images, new combo box appears which says filter. So SIPS automatically recognizes that these images were taken over the blue filter, these over the green filter. And when there are two or more groups like that present, SIPS allows me to select either blue. I click blue, select, and OK. And then I have only blue images in this set. I can then name this blue, and I have a very nicely organized list of all the blue images. I can close the images, and now this is the only thing that stays. So that was adding already existing images into the list. Let me close this list Alternatively, images can be added into a list as a result of an operation or when we are taking them with the camera. So I'm going to open a new list, and I have a virtual camera connected here, so do not pay too much attention to the options here. This is just a virtual camera for quick demonstration. When I select this checkbox, I can select which list. I can uncheck open new dark frame, and then I can, for example, create 5 dark images. I start exposure, and now you can see that those images are being added into my list. This can be useful in many instances, but it's particularly useful with the calibration images. We will talk about calibration in much more detail in one of the following videos, but let me just quickly say that it's very common to take a series of images and then create a master calibration image, which you then save. There is really no need to save the intermediate images. So I quickly took 5 dark frames, and right now they exist only in the memory. I can open them, check them if everything looks all right, but I don't need to save them. I can go to image math, list functions, and create a mean of a list. And here it says list 1. And this is now a master calibration image, which I can then save as we discussed the last time. We don't necessarily need to create it manually. I can open calibrate, and here in the subtract dark frame section, I can create a dark frame as a mean of an image list. Again, I select my list 1. I could have even named this darks, and then it would say create a master dark out of my darks list. This also brings us nicely into the batch operations I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Let me now quickly take, just for demonstration, a few images. I don't need to open them, but I will add them to the list 2. In the real situation, we probably want to save them as well, but for this demonstration, just store them in list 2. That's enough for now. Let me create the dark, as I mentioned before. Create image 11. And now I can calibrate the whole list 2, with just one click of a button. As I mentioned, a dedicated video about calibration is coming. This was all just for a quick demonstration of how useful can the lists be. I can close this, I can close this as well. And before we wrap this video, let me show you a few more things. Let's open a new list one more time. Let's load in a few images, and let's discuss a few last things about the lists. We've already touched upon these buttons to open and close images. I already mentioned that lists can be named, but there are also a few more buttons hidden right here. This one transforms images in the list. In the previous video, we have quickly talked about the transformations, cropping and stuff. Let's now say that I want to take this image of M31, and let's say that I want to take the cutout of just a little bit of the image. I can select this image here, select a part of an image, and then in the list, click transform images in a list, and you can see that it already selected the coordinates and the width and height of my selection right here. I can check this. I can check some of the other options as well. Just as an example, I can rotate these images, and I'm going to transform the whole list. And now every single image in this list is just a small rotated cutout from the original image. I will adjust the histogram again a little bit so you can see that there is something. If I want to save this, I can use these buttons. This saves all modified images. This will override the images we already stored, or I can save all images under a different name. So I can name this, for example, M31 crop, append date or time, ordinal number, and I can save list images. One last thing I want to mention here is that there are more buttons. By default, the list window is a little too small to show them all, We have ways of sorting. We can either sort by name or we can sort it by time. There is a button for calculating the photon transfer curve, and we use to determine the parameters of a sensor. You can read more about it in the documentation. And finally, I can combine high gain and low gain portions into HDR image. This is only relevant for our C4 cameras, and we will talk about it more in one of the upcoming videos. And that's about it for today's video. We will bring the lists again in the future many times when we talk about tools that work directly with the lists, but these were the basic underlying concepts behind lists in SIPS. In the next video we will talk about image acquisition, so as always make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Bye for now.